Welcome everyone to AARP Wyoming's Video Voter Guide Series for 2024. I'm Tom Laycock with AARP Wyoming, and today we're joined by Marilyn Connolly, who's running for the Wyoming Legislature in House District 40, located in Johnson and Sheridan Counties. AARP has a proud 40-year history of nonpartisan voter engagement and does not endorse or oppose candidates, nor does AARP make contributions to political campaigns or candidates at any level. Instead, we ask questions so our members understand where the candidates stand on important issues and can make their own decisions on Election Day. Today, we'll ask Ms. Connolly 3 questions, allowing for a 1-minute and 30-second response to each. Then we'll give Ms. Connolly 2 minutes to make her pitch to the voters of House District 40. Ms. Connolly, our first question is this. Over the last 2 years, the Wyoming Legislature has made providing property tax relief for its citizens a priority. In your view, what's the most effective way to provide relief while balancing revenue needs for our schools, counties, and other entities that rely on property tax to maintain sustainable funding?
Well, I believe that the legislature did some things this year that really did help. It didn't go far enough. So I'm looking at the possibility of lowering that cap from 4% to a lower percentage rate. Also, I think we could look at something that I call, Texas does it, I call it the tax compression method, which is they have found a different mechanism to help fund maintenance and operations of school districts, which in turn then would free up some of the property tax assessments that we all have to pay for local schools, which would help maybe lessen the burden on our residents, people with our fixed incomes, and just everybody in general. Another thing I think we could look at is our personal tangible property taxes that we could maybe look at that would help in another area lessen that tax burden, in turn making it a little more palatable to pay our property taxes. We have to pay taxes. We cannot run our local communities and our counties without that mechanism of income. If that goes away, then reality is we're going to find someplace else to replenish those funds. So those are my thoughts.
Our second question for today. Wyoming's population of those aged 60 and over grew by 47% from 2010 to 2020, while the state's entire population grew just 2%. We know 64% of all nursing home beds in Wyoming are paid for right now by the state Medicaid program. What do you see as the greatest barrier to helping our older adults age in their homes and communities? And what solutions would you provide?
One of the greatest barriers is the cost, the cost of hiring caregivers, the availability of caregivers, a lack of transportation, unaffordable housing or safe housing. All these things play into keeping your parents or your elderly at home. I think it's really important to do that. And so I think we need to look at supporting our senior centers and our assisted livings and home health entities that work out of our hospitals. We have to give them more support. Another thing to look at is the Medicare methods of funding and reimbursing people for these costs. I took care of my parents at home, and it's not easy. If we had support for daycare facilities through our senior centers, I think that would help to give people a rest from taking care, because it's really hard. It's hard work and it's emotional. And I think the more support we can give locally that way, the better. That will help break these barriers.
Thank you. Our third and final question for today. Emergency medical services are not considered an essential service in Wyoming. And in some areas, ambulance services do not have a sustainable funding source. Over the last 10 years, Wyoming has seen 16 EMS providers in the state fold or consolidate with another service. What solutions would you offer for ensuring access to ambulance services?
We've got to be able to figure out how to retain people and recruit people and continue to pay them, because what's happened, I've been an AEMT for 30 years in our community. And what's happened, it's no longer a put oxygen on and drive really fast. It's a hours and hours of training and education. It's a big responsibility to pick up people in your community and give them the health care that they need in the back of an ambulance, get them to a definitive critical care facility. I've worked with EMS on the Hill, working with our legislators in Washington, D.C. One of the things that we've tried to do is work on what Medicare pays for our rural services. We need to have that increased. We need to look at our training costs. And as far as essential services, yeah, EMS isn't considered an essential service. That might be something to look at. That would cost communities some money, though. And then just if we could look at maybe a training model that would keep people from having to take away from their work schedule to be a volunteer EMT, would be helpful as well, I believe.
Well, Ms. Connolly, thank you for taking the time to answer our questions. We want to make sure now to give you 2 minutes to explain to the voters of House District 40 why you are the woman for the job.
I'm asking for the support of the voters to put me in office because I feel like nationally and statewide, we are really on a precipice like we've never seen before. And I feel like I'm the right person right now to be able to help pull us back from that. I'm a very proactive person, and I want to see the legislature become proactive in dealing with issues that are coming down from the national level. I don't think we can wait and say, well, this really isn't happening right now in Wyoming. It may not be right now in Wyoming, but it will be coming, and I would like to see us take on some more proactive action and legislation before we have to be reactive. I was born and raised here, worked here, volunteered here, served the community here in District 40 for most of my life. I'm ready to, with the experience I've had serving on all the boards, and I've been on the state banking board, I'm on the search and rescue council board, I've served on the senior center board, I'm currently on the rural healthcare district board that funds our ambulance services. And that's just to name a few. So I feel like my experience will give me the expertise to ferociously protect and defend our core industries and our transportation. I'm really concerned about our water, protecting our water, our power grid, those sort of things, our individual rights, and overtaxation and overregulation. So I think based on my experience, I will be a very good, dedicated candidate.
Well, thank you, Ms. Connolly, for your time today, and thank you to our viewers for watching this video Voter's Guide. We encourage you to keep checking Cowboy State Daily and AARP Wyoming's Facebook page for more voter guides in the days to come.